Hello, my name is Jovan Popovic, and I will be giving a brief overview of ESTCP project ER 201582 entitled Post-Remediation Performance Assessment at a Petroleum Impacted Site. The overarching objective of this effort is to help the Department of Defense make a stronger case for closure of legacy petroleum sites and expand the DoD's knowledge and use of alternative methods for characterizing light non-aqueous phase liquid at petroleum sites, really in order to make better informed decisions for remediation strategies. Ultimately, the results garnered from this effort will be used to provide guidance to DoD sites on the use of long-term monitoring data and risk-based evaluation of remaining free product to make a renewed case for site closure or some other alternatives that might result in cost savings, including a change in remediation techniques, for instance, from an active treatment remedy to a more passive remediation approach. Also, this could result in a reduction in the number of samples taken at sites, or even a reduction in the frequency of sampling, which would all result ultimately in cost savings. But let's move on to some of the key findings and takeaway points from this project. At our test site, which is a fuel farm located in northwest Nevada, LNAPL recovery has been occurring for over 30 years now. And, the recovery here is becoming increasingly marginal. And we are noticing that this trend is likely going to proceed for many years down the road. In our final report, you will find that we combine 3 different approaches to assess remaining LNAPL at our test site. And these included the total petroleum hydrocarbon CWG residual risk methodology, using the TPH fractionation method, where groundwater, soil, and free product recovery samples were used in these calculations. Our second approach was to utilize natural source zone depletion measurements using CO2 traps to measure the rates of biodegradation around the site. And our third strategy involved calculating on-site LNAPL transmissivity rates using historical recovery data. Now, some of the key findings at our test site was that we're finding that the LNAPL plume here is relatively stable, and there's evidence for shrinking based off of our transmissivity calculations and some of our field sampling data. And furthermore, there's really no receptors at risk here, as this site does continue its operation as a fuel farm. One final point here for our findings during this effort is that natural source zone depletion is occurring at rates similar to that of LNAPL recovery, which ultimately does continue to be the ongoing remedy at our site. Hopefully this will change in the near future. But wrapping up here, to reiterate, the risk-based approach offers a possibility of a technical basis for closing petroleum sites or greatly reducing costs by transitioning to more passive recovery. And considering that our test site is very typical of many DoD sites across the country, this approach will have broad applicability for several of our sites that we currently operate. Thank you very much, and we hope you enjoy the report.